Hey YouTube, Heiko, reporting from his garage. I'm working on something right now. As you can see, there's the bottom of a Ford C6 transmission. I guess they made the C6 between the 1960s and stopped using it in their modern vehicles in 1996, I want to say. So a pretty long time. It's a pretty popular transmission. And I ran into a couple problems, and I couldn't find any good videos or information about how to do stuff. So what I was trying to achieve is, first of all, drain the entire transmission, including the torque converter. And that is usually possible if you have a stock transmission and a stock converter. I don't have a stock converter. I have one made by TCI, and apparently TCI omits the drain plug. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't get all the 12 quarts of transmission fluid out of my system here. So I will have to do something else. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. But yeah, the other problem is, or it's gonna be mitigated here on this side, is where the shifter lever goes through the body into the transmission. And then you see this linkage hanging here. This linkage is literally the one shifting, moving a couple of valves around and whatnot. And let me show you what happened here. So someone installed this TCI C6 transmission when they took the stock out. And this here is the remain of a shifter lever. And this little stub here is what's left of the actual lever. So what they did, they accidentally installed this thing the wrong way. You can turn it 180 degrees. So you can install it pointing down or pointing up. It should have been installed pointing down so that you can actually shift the transmission. They accidentally put it in the wrong way. And then decided, instead of going through the trouble, taking the valve body out, blah, 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 they just cut it off. And then they put it over there, one of those clamp-on aftermarket TCI shifter levers. Downside of that is, with such a aftermarket shifter lever, which pretty much sits on this section here, the stub that's sticking out of the transmission, that's where usually that switch sits on. That's the neutral, safety, and backup light switch. See, it's still there. It's still wired in. They just removed it because they needed this section here to clamp on a shifter lever, because those idiots cut the original. Sorry for the camera work, but I'm like in my inspection pit. Here is the new one. You see this shaft? This is in a plastic bag. Sorry, guys. I'm going to mitigate this. I'm going to take it out and show you. Turn one-handed. Here we go. So, and there's a Ford tag still on there with a part number. So here you see it. This is what that looks like. This is the little stub where they put the shifter lever on because those idiots cut this long thing off. Yeah, so this is just this place where the neutral, safety, and backup switch is sitting on. And yeah, because they occupied this with a aftermarket TCI shifter lever here, yeah, they couldn't put it on anymore. That means I didn't have backup lights anymore. So in order for me to, first of all, take this shifter lever out, the messed up one, the cut off one, and put a new one in there, which costs only $50 off of eBay, I had to remove this. And that's not really that simple. You have to take the pan down, which you would do if you changed the transmission fluid. And then usually right here in the middle, this whole center section is the valve body. There are the valve body and the filter. So I first took down the filter, of course. The filter has, I want to say, let me count real quick from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bolts in it. One is an extra long one, and two are a different size, bigger ones. And you really have to make sure that you're putting the right one into the right spot. So taking the filter off on this particular C6 transmission, filter sits on the valve body. Not really that easy. Then taking off the valve body, I'm just going to pan over. That is the valve body. So this side here is the side that goes into the transmission. So I didn't flip it around. I didn't want to move it around. I didn't want to lose any little bits and pieces. And when you see the valve body from my perspective, from the underside, you will see lots of little screws. You don't have to take all of those out. They're actually only, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe, let's count one more time. Maybe like 5 or 6 bolts that hold the valve body onto the body of the transmission. So only those need to come out. The other ones are just holding the valve body together. So if you take all of those out, let me show you. Sorry, crawling around here in my inspection pit. I mean, I have the luxury of having an inspection pit, so I don't want to be complaining. So here's the valve body. That's the top side. That's inside the transmission, not visible. And then the side that's on this little oil pan here, that's the side that you would see. And here are the 6 bolts that I took off. This is actually, let me be precise here. So the smaller screws that hold the valve body together are all 5/16 heads. And then the bigger one, if I could find a little socket. Where did I put it? Where did it go? 5/16. What's the next one up? 5/16. 3/8. Yeah, 3/8. So those ones have a 3/8 head, and the other ones are 5/16. So take the bigger ones out, leave the smaller ones alone, because the smaller ones hold this whole assembly together. If you take that apart, you're not going to get it back together. This is going to be, I mean, then you have to get manuals and have an idea what you're actually doing. I don't. So I just wanted to take the valve body down to be able to work on those levers here. So now I'm going to show you real quick, if I can even accomplish this with one hand, what this looks like. So in reality, there are 2 levers. One is the shifter lever and one is the kickdown lever. So, and this is kind of like so. So the one that I just put in there that's now sticking out on the outside here, that is the kickdown lever. You see the little flat lands there. That's where the outside kickdown lever goes on. And this other one here is the actual shifter inside the transmission, and this little nose here goes into a valve. Here, back here, there's another linkage to the same lever. So, and if you have an actual, I don't want to put any dirt in there, so make sure it's all clean. If you actually have the shifter lever, the one that I'm about to install here, stuck in there, it slides right over the kickdown shaft, like so. And then the shifter lever also has 2 flat surfaces that lock into this inside lever here. So it only goes in the transmission in 2 positions, facing down or facing up, and they put it in the wrong way. So yeah, in actuality, it's not that crazy. You just got to be careful. Drain the sump, take the filter off. Remember to only take the bigger bolts out of the valve body. Lower it down. Don't flip it around. Don't turn it upside down. It's going to be a little bit of a mess. It's always dripping constantly. You know, I have a oil pan here sitting here. Yeah, so, and then when you put it all back in, this little thing has to line up with a plunger of a valve. It has to slide into a slot. And this one here, that just pushes on another valve that's taking care of the kickdown. Really not that complicated, but you just really got to do your thing.